Okay, we are now going to learn how to use this tool. It's known as the line segment tool. I call it the diagonal line tool. Before we get started, you got to make sure that you have a stroke of black with a fill of none. You could have a fill of white, but just for the sake of good design, let's go ahead and make sure we have a line of black or a stroke of black with a fill of none. Now let's go ahead and get that tool. Here it is, and I'm going to click on and hold, and you'll notice that there are a whole bunch of additional tools. And we're going to go ahead and learn each one of those. So I'm just going to pull off and make myself additional subtools. And first of all, let's go ahead and work with that diagonal line. How can you use it? Well, you can draw a line at any angle, okay? That's basically what it is used for. You can also use your direct selection tool up here, the white tool, and you can still continue to adjust it. Okay, you can make it small, you can make it long, and you can move it at any angle. Okay, now on top of this, we are going to use an additional what we call palette, and I'm going to go to my Windows palette and I'm going to pull out something called the stroke. A stroke is very basically a line, and here's the stroke configuration or the stroke palette. You can change the thickness of this stroke or line, or also known as a rule back many years ago, to a different thickness. For instance, if I want to double the line thickness, as you can see, it will change. We can go up to 24 point if need be, 16 point. You can see how thick the line gets. So these lines here, or these tools here, work hand in hand with the stroke. Okay? All right, let's go back down to a stroke of 1 point. That's usually normally the size of a line or size of a stroke. Okay, and the next tool on this toolbox here is the they call it the arc tool, I believe. Yes, and I'm just going to hold my shift key down and create a perfect arc, or also known as a radius. And what can you do with this radius? I guess you can use it just the way that it is, but what a lot of people do, or a lot of designers will do, they'll use this as your radius corner, and then they'll continue to create a path with it. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to get the pen tool here, and I'll show you how I'm going to utilize this arc shape. I'm going to go right at the very tip of the arc line segment, and I'm going to click one time. You see this little diagonal line? That means that you're creating a path and you're continuing the path. So I'll click one time, and now you can see that it's essentially connected to that arc. And I'll hold my shift key down and I'll create this nice little configuration. Now I have a complete path, also known as a closed path. The advantage of having a closed path is that you can fill it with a color. Okay, so that's how you use the arc tool or the arc shape. The next one is kind of a spiral shape. You can do a lot of things with these spiral shapes. You can go ahead and once again use the pen tool to continue the path. As you can see, I kind of created a little widget of some sort. Okay. Next one is very basically a grid. You can hold your shift key down and get a perfect square with a grid. And the neat thing about this is that you can use the selection tool and you can make it fit to your layout, whatever you're creating and or designing. And another very cool thing is you can get the direct selection tool, select one of these vertical or horizontal lines, and delete it if you don't need it. So that's one thing that's very cool about this grid shape. Okay, next thing will be, get rid of these lines. The last one, and this is another very cool tool. I don't necessarily know the name of it, polar grid. Okay. Once again, you can very basically create this cylindrical object. You can also customize it to your liking. For instance, if I did not like that centered sphere or shape, I can delete it, and you can basically design it the way that you see it. So you don't have to actually build um, a circled configuration with lines in it. You can just use this tool, and voila, there you've got it. So I was able to modify it using the direct selection tool. And then if I use the selection tool, it now works as one element. For instance, I can go ahead and click on it, and then I can move it around, as you can see. All right, that's all the time that we have right now for utilizing these line segment, arc tool, spiral tool, grid tool, and polar grid tool. Thank you for watching.